Welcome to Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen, Anthony Becht, and Quincy Enunwa here inside a very dry studio. The New York Jets were not bothered by the rain today. They beat the Chicago Bears in convincing fashion by a 31-10 score. Anthony, we have to start with Mike White. His first start of the 2022 season, not too bad. 22 of 28, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, well done, Mike White. That's exactly what this team was looking for. You talk about his performance. It was really lights out. I mean, just impressive from start to finish. He was poised. He had composure. There was calmness in the huddle. I just feel like everybody just felt confident around him in the game. He starts hitting receivers and backs and tight ends, multiple guys early on in this game. Guys get excited. I remember when I played Q, I'm sure it's the same with you. You got me involved early in the game. I knew I was going to play well. It may not have been, may have been a catch, but I knew I'm going to block well too, because I just felt good throughout the game. There was some juice in the stadium. It was raining. There was conditions. There was no real issues for him. And, he made some tight window throws in this game because he believed in what he was doing. He was concise. I think the game plan was, very similar than a lot of game plans we've seen. The line obviously stepped up, did more. Guys stepped up when their name was called. And quite frankly, he got the ball to playmakers where they had to be. Great ball placement. And guys were able to make plays down the field.
Yeah, Q, let's get to the takeaway right now. The New York Jets are 7-4 on the year. They entered today's game 7th overall in the AFC. They're not going to be hurt by this victory. In fact, the Jets might wake up tomorrow morning in a better spot than they entered Sunday afternoon. But White, who last season, in his first career start, threw for 405 yards against the Bengals, comes out in 2022. He's named the starter on Tuesday, and he goes against the Chicago Bears, and he took care of business all afternoon.
Man, this guy's impressive. Every time he comes in, the first game he comes in, he's balling. I mean, you can't really say too much about that. A guy that can come in and know that the spotlight is on him. Everybody's looking at him. They want to see him fail because this guy is taking somebody else's spot, and he does exactly what he needs to do. I mean, I love to see that. I'm happy for him. He was doing it and in bad conditions as well. Like, the rain was pouring. It was really bad out there. For him to be making those throws, accurate throws, he was just making plays that you want to see from your starting quarterback. And I think this is a guy that's going to lead the Jets where they need to go as long as he keeps playing like that.
AB, all of a sudden, Mike LaFleur looks a lot smarter today, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you can play off your players, right? I mean, when your quarterback's in sync, the run game's making some moves. As a play caller, you feel more confident on how the game's unraveling for you. From start, when you can go 5 for 6 for passing, score a touchdown on the first drive, it just sets the tempo. Everybody feels good. There's confidence. I just always felt like every time we scored first when I was a player, you just felt like, okay, we have control of this game. And, of course, you know what the defense can do for you. I mean, you see some of these throws that Mike White made. I mean, they weren't easy dink and dunk throws. He took chances when the risk was there. He took chances when the opportunity was there, and then when they weren't, he was definitive. He checked the ball down. He got the ball out of his hands. I mean, I think every time he threw the ball, he was going to the right spot. Quite frankly, that stat line is not easy to get. I think we're all sitting here, we're thinking, 315. That's what he did last year. It's not easy to do those kind of things. Throwing for 300 yards is precious. You normally see guys throwing for 300 yards when they're down in a game, they're trying to get back. He led the charge with his arm. He stayed under 30 throws, and they're able to run the ball effectively. Great balance from front to finish, and a lot of guys touched the ball, and you saw the buzz and excitement that the offense was feeling throughout the game.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing. I think it's a great point that you said that they were going in rhythm. Like, there was no rhythm last week, and I think that was one of the biggest issues, is that they couldn't get anything going. Like, my takeaway from the game last week was like, well, the running game also wasn't going, but there really wasn't anything to do because they couldn't get the pass game and the running game. When Mike White was able to really command the offense, he was able to get that rhythm going, and you could see there was so much creativity in the offense. He was able to counteract some plays, run the right plays. It just looked good by Mike LaFleur.
So decisive in the pocket today. He got rid of that football, got rid of it on time, and his playmakers made plays with the ball in their hands, and that included Garrett Wilson, 5 catches, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Caroline Hendershot talked to the Jets rookie receiver after the game.
Here with wide receiver Garrett Wilson. Garrett, 2 touchdowns, 95 yards. What was working so well for you today?
We all just did our job, and we did it well. You know, we came to this practice week really focused, wanted to be detailed, and, it showed today. Regardless of the weather, we were detailed, and, that shined through.
Second touchdown with just under 5 minutes to go in the first half. You caught it and run for 55 yards. What did you see on that play?
One of the players had fell, and I think the dude that was guarding me overplayed it. So I knew I had some room to the back to the field, and wanted to make a play. We were losing at that point, and it was good to make a play and get back in front.
Mike White, 310 yards today. Everybody knew he was capable all week long. What did he show this team today?
He showed us a lot, but nothing that we didn't already know. Like you said, he's a really special talent and comes to work every day with the right mindset. And to see him go out there and do that, obviously I can't say I expected. What he had, a 149 passer rating? I didn't expect all that, but I expected him to go crazy. So no one more deserving, and balling.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Garrett.
Appreciate you, Caroline.
Hey, credit both to Caroline Hendershot, a Michigan alum, and Garrett Wilson, an Ohio State alum.
For getting along.
Yeah, for doing that interview. Nice job. And I'll tell you what, the Buckeyes definitely missed Garrett Wilson on Saturday afternoon. He continues to be a big play receiver for the New York Jets. Nearly 100 yards, again, receiving for Wilson today, despite the rain. The Jets had it moving both in the air and on the ground. The drive of the game, though, Anthony, got to be that opening march from the Jets. 9 plays, 75 yards, culminating on a touchdown pass from Mike White to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, 5 for 6. Mike looked very concise. He looked like he knew where the ball should go. And to me, he hit the right guy every time. Look, he was prepared. My kid plays quarterback. He's a freshman, and he doesn't start. But every single game, you have to be meticulous in your week and what you do as a backup. You have to be observant of how the starter plays, of how the plays are being called. In the game, when you have the headsets on, whatever that may be, you're constantly taking internal notes. How to speak, how other people speak, how coaches engage, how players engage, what's good to take away, what's bad to take away. And quite frankly, that's what he's done. Everything from his play on the field, the way he spoke after the game today, all those different things you can tell. Obviously, he's very meticulous in those things, and that's quite frankly what success is, right? You're ready for your moment, and when you're ready for your moment, you can make plays and feel confident what you're doing because you have the answers to the test, right? If you know your progressions, if you know where to look, if you know what your keys are, you look smooth. That's what he looked like today, and that's not anything to knock on anybody else. That's how it looks when you know exactly what the plan is and you can feed off play caller to quarterback and then the rest of the guys doing their thing. So it's only one game. Listen, I'm not putting Mike White in the Hall of Fame. I didn't do it the last time because he got a wake-up call when he played last year, and I think he'll learn from that. That's something he's got written in his notebook from 2021. He'll flip that open and he'll say, listen, this is how it went. This is what I got to do different. Manage the game. Do what you're doing. Don't turn the ball over. Very easily said than done, but it's something that if he can do, this defense and like we talked about, this team can really be successful.
But this is what good teams do too, right, fellas? Because, hey, the Bears played pretty well early. Trevor Siemian made some plays in the passing game. They had a 10-7 lead, but the final 24 points of this game belong to the Jets. Again, we talked all season long about this defense. The defense is going to keep the Jets in every game they play if they don't turn the football over. What we saw today, though, was the offense getting going through the air and then on the ground. And how about the play of Bam Knight and Ty Johnson? Guys we haven't called upon their names throughout the year and unlikely heroes. But that just shows the depth of this roster.
Right, and I think we've been talking about that from the beginning. I said it from the very beginning. The way that they won those preseason games, it kind of shows the depth that they had. Coming in the fourth quarter, winning the game. Hopefully we don't have to see Strevlet, but if we do, we know that guy also has the same ability that these other guys have. Like, they just have so many guys that are willing to come in and make plays. And as far as the drive of the game, they really set the tone, right? They came in and punched him in the mouth and showed him this is how we're going to come straight from the bat. You got to know that you're going to have to really defend this team. Mike White is here. He's going to play a great game. These guys are going to rally around him. I think that's the biggest thing. Like a lot of times when you see a backup come in, you think of it as like a rivalry thing. I think guys just want to rally around the guy because, you know, he's a backup. He might not have that same confidence as a starter, but if he feels that we're confident in him, then he might bring that confidence up, and then we're all just going to have a great game. And that's what you saw today.
Before we get to the game summary, I wanted to ask you about that touchdown, that culmination of that first drive. What did you both think of what Wilson did there? Because sometimes he gets free releases because he's so naturally gifted. But on this one, the cornerback tried to get physical with him, and he just brushed him aside.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I love to see it because for me, I was still kind of waiting for that from Garrett Wilson. I saw so many other things that he had in his tool bag, but to see him fight off the jam and still get open, you know, it shows that he's not scared to get physical. And that's one thing you want to see from a receiver. A lot of guys like to be, you know, they like to make the moves and all those different things, but sometimes you're going to have to get physical because these DBs will see that. They'll know your tendencies, kind of like Revis was saying. They know that this guy likes to do a lot of shaking. So the guy got his hands on him, and he was able to shake that off and still get the touchdown.
You know, look, he's WR1, man. He's a dog. I'm going to predict he'll have 1,000 yards receiving by the end of the season. If the rate they keep going, they need to find more ways to get him the football, just like everybody else. But he's the alpha dog out there that can take over a game. He's got a lot of confidence as a player, and he controls his swag when he speaks. But it's much different than it is on the field. I love that about him. You know, he's got that fine line of how he does it, and you need that. You got to play a little bit with that factor, but yet still carry yourself in a way that people respect you, and I think that's how he does it. So, you know, look, the sky's the limit for this young man. I want to see him push the limits a little bit as we move forward. Some big games, some big teams coming up. That's where you'll get to those defining. And what's great about it, you know, not to push forward other games, but when you're playing against teams that have guys like Jefferson and guys like Diggs, you want to go out there and be them dudes and put up them same numbers. Yeah. He's that kind of guy. I think it's going to be fun to see.
You got me excited for what's on deck for the Jets. There are today's numbers. The Jets, 466 yards of total offense. It started early because Mike White threw for more than 230 yards in that first half. And the Jets ultimately really punished the Bears on the ground in the second half when they were melting away the clock there. 158 yards. Nice job on third down, both sides of the football, converting nearly 60% of the time offensively. And then the Jets got off the field defensively. Let's bring in Ethan Greenberg from MetLife Stadium. Green's totally different look in the offensive backfield for the Jets today. First off, James Robinson, a game day inactive. Zonovan Bam Knight makes his first appearance for the green and white. And then Michael Carter, unfortunately, went down in this game. How do you think the Jets responded to all the moving parts?
Well, I think they responded very well. I mean, you're talking about Zonovan Bam Knight, somebody that was an undrafted free agent. He originally made the 53-man roster before he was waived, cleared waivers, re-signed to the practice squad, and then the Jets signed him to the active roster a couple weeks to a month ago, and he performed very well, especially for somebody who was undrafted. And I think for him and this Jets offense, they really decided to get after it in terms of running the football. We obviously know Breece Hall is here for the long term. Obviously, the Jets don't have him for the rest of the year. And with Zonovan Knight, I think you really saw the speed, you saw the vision, you saw a lot of what you saw in the preseason. And that doesn't necessarily always translate from preseason to regular season. And we saw that in his first pro game today. Over 60 rushing yards, average 4.9 yards a carry. And then Ty Johnson as well also goes over 60 yards. He has that 32-yard touchdown. So I think the Jets responded very well. And in terms of Michael Carter, he has an ankle sprain, and the severity is to be determined. So we might be seeing more of the Zonovan Knight, Ty Johnson combination moving forward.
Yeah, how about Bam Knight? Like you mentioned, Greens, 4.9 yards a carry, but 14 attempts rushing the football. And he also had 3 catches out of the backfield for 34 yards. Okay, let's go to the receiver position. The Jets got a welcome addition. Corey Davis back in the lineup, but Elijah Moore, who entered this ball game with 18 catches, he got on the scoring end of things today.
Yeah, Elijah Moore, I spoke to him after the game, and I said, just what has this past month or so been like for you? Because he didn't want to be a Jet a couple of months ago. And Robert Saleh said, whoa. Like, that's not the case. He's just frustrated. And he got his first receiving touchdown today, and you could sense that Elijah Moore felt a sense of relief. And he said that he's just been waiting for his opportunity, and today his opportunity came, and he had the touchdown pass. He said that on that play, he hears the play call, and he knew that he needed to draw out the route a little longer, which he did. And then, of course, Mike White kind of shifted over to his left, hit Elijah Moore for the score. So Elijah Moore all smiles after this win, as you might expect, though, I would say.
Let's end here. Defensively, great response from the Jets. They had some troubles early, a couple missed tackles in there. The Bears have some good backs. Backup Trevor Siemian, who once wore green and white, was playing well early, but the Jets really slammed the door shut, didn't they, over those final 3 quarters?
Yeah, they did. C.J. Mosley was talking about after the first couple possessions, that's when things really clicked for the Jets defense. We saw the chunk plays early from Chicago, and then after that, really what did the Jets in, or what I would say their weakness, air quotes, because it wasn't really a weakness, was just David Montgomery in the run game. And the Jets obviously came away with a victory today, so it doesn't burn as much. But C.J. Mosley said that people have to remember that this is the #1 rushing offense in the NFL, with or without Justin Fields. Obviously, Fields is a game changer. He's a big part of that. But David Montgomery is the Chicago Bears starting running back. He had a good game, and he said that he was just a tough guy to bring down. The Jets right now, though, as a defense, they really found their way. Couple sacks in the second half. They come out of this one with a victory, now playing another NFC North team next week on the road in the Minnesota Vikings.
After being taken number 10 overall in last April's draft, Garrett Wilson has now played with 3 different quarterbacks. He leads the New York Jets with 49 receptions, 628 yards receiving, and 4 touchdowns. He continues to be electrifying each and every Sunday. All right, Q, big day for the Jets receivers and quarterback Mike White making his first start here with the Green and White 2022. Garrett Wilson, 5 receptions, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Elijah Moore, 2 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Here, we're going to see Mike White operate in 12 personnel and Garrett Wilson beat man coverage.
Yeah, so Mike LaFleur did a great job of helping Mike White make some great plays today. So right here, like you said, 12 personnel. Usually when we run this play, you're going to see a post from here from Conklin. You're going to see deep over from Mims, and then you'll see Garrett Wilson running in. But here, it was a great play call, great timing. They didn't have to run the post here, so they had this guy blocked. They had a cross-sieve block here, and you're going to see the same thing on this side right here with these 2 guys. So I'm going to let it run. You'll see the over. You see the over and the in. Mike White, great job. Look at the over the outstretched hands. Now, let me start from the beginning. One thing I'll always say, right? I'll always say this about Garrett Wilson. He is a playmaker. It's hard to cover him one-on-one. This guy can do anything he wants, and when you put him in this position, you give him an opportunity to run a 2-way go. So this DB has no idea what's going to happen to him. Great release here. He gets the inside release. Now it's over because he knows I'm running inside. He gives him a nice jab fake on the outside, and he's open in here. Great catch, and then you just get to see what Garrett Wilson loves to do, make plays with his feet and the ball in his hand.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Bears on this play, veteran safety Eddie Jackson goes down. Non-contact injuries, so you're hoping that he's okay. But you're right, Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson are deadly in the open field. So let's get to Moore here. A guy who was looking for his first touchdown on the season, and you predicted it in pregame Central this morning. You said Moore's going to get in the end zone. He sure did.
Yes, sir. So I said it. I knew it was going to happen, mainly because Mike White is going to go in and do what he needs to do. And the thing that he needed to do here was not scramble out of the pocket, stay in the pocket, and still give your guys an opportunity to make a play. So here we go. We're going to have this right here. We'll have this sail route here. We got Corey Davis running the runoff. This is to get the coverage out of the way. And they're going to have a nice flat right here. So it's a great job by Mike White. He knows that his guys need some time to get open. So he's moving the pocket, right? Moving the pocket, giving his guys an opportunity to get open, and then he throws a strike into the zone. And it's always great when the receiver knows, okay, this is a zone route. So you have Corey Davis doing a good job stretching. You got to stretch him because this guy needs to get out of the way because Elijah Moore is coming in here right afterwards. So Elijah Moore does a good job. This is the best thing about this is coming inside, creating the space, and then coming back out. So you'll see him here. Great job. Go inside, get out, and look at all of this space he's created now so Mike White can throw him in that hole and give him that great score for the touchdown.
Great job by Mike White in his first start in 2022. After the game, the voice of the Jets, Bob Wischusen, talked to the winning quarterback.
Mike, congratulations. How'd that feel?
Felt good. I think just for the locker room, the offense as a whole. I mean, our defense did what our defense does and played really well. And in our offense, we executed well. We executed the game plan. And I think it just shows the mindset of the guys in there. No flinch. Whatever happened last week was in the books. Learn from it, turn the page, and we played well today.
And the same for you, right? No flinch. You came out, first possession, rifled a slant to Garrett Wilson. I don't know if there are nerves at the start of a game for you, and if you hit a throw quickly like that, what it does for you. But how about how you started the game?
No, I think it definitely, any quarterback will tell you when your first throw is a completion, it settles you in a little bit. You do have the anxiousness, the butterflies, just to get into the game and see what kind of games are going to be, and then those kind of go away and you're in the moment. But yeah, it's like any shooter in basketball. When you see that first one goes in, it calms you and kind of gets you in the flow of the game.
And you think about what your team has been through. You got 2 wide receivers at this point that demanded trades at one point this season. You've lost 4 offensive tackles. You lose Breece Hall. You're the 3rd different quarterback to start for this team, and this team yet sits here at 7-4. You're kind of emblematic of figuring out a way to get the job done. But what about where this team is through 11 games with everything you've been through?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's a testament to our leadership, our veteran guys, not flinching, bringing the young guys along with us, and the young guys too stepping up. I mean, Max Mitchell said went down early. Max Mitchell came in first game back from injury, didn't flinch. Offense didn't flinch. We knew Max would come in and get the job done. It's just kind of how it is. Next man up, and it's the guys in this locker room, the attitude they have, and that's where we are. But like you said, job's not done. We got a couple more.
Final question: do you hear the fans chanting your name, and how does it feel?
Yes, I do. It feels really cool. Maybe next time they'll do it when we're not at the ball and we're not trying to have a snap count. But yeah,
good tip.
Pretty cool.
All right, we'll pass that along. Thanks.
Thank you.
You are watching Jets Overtime presented by SiriusXM. Our technical director, Matthew Sitkoff, says the scoring summary is 2 pages today, and that is good news if you are a Jet fan because the Jets put up 31 points. It seems a long time ago, Anthony, but the Bears actually had a 10-7 lead in this game, but then the Jets took control down the stretch.
Yeah, no, it's a full-quarter game, right? You got to go out there and execute on all aspects. It didn't rattle the quarterback, didn't rattle the offense. You just keep playing. Eventually, good things are going to come. You don't force big plays. You don't try to create big plays. You let them happen naturally on both sides of the football. And be honest, I have to probably say this from the defense. We keep talking about the defense, and this is what we expect. At some point, it's going to get hard for them. You know, they're not going to be able to go out there and hold everybody to 10 or less points. I mean, it's just not feasible. There's just too many good teams out there. But being one of the best defense, that's the expectation level we have now. But this is where the offense is going to have to pick up the slack at some point, right? And today was a good start. Today was a trust factor. Okay, you know what? Things were a little early, a little shaky. They were doing some dinking and dunks. They had found some matchups. The weather was kind of there, but offense was able to kind of continue to make the push, put points on the board in the second half, and that that helps the defense too. As it maybe started out slow, it ended up perfectly for this football team.
That's a good point about the offense lifting the defense up because not every week, as Anthony just articulated, are the Jets going to be able to hold an opponent to 3 points or 10 points like they've done the last 2 weeks. It's almost like their standard is so high that you're surprised when Sauce Gardner gets called for a pass interference penalty down the sideline on a play where Chase Claypool came up with a miraculous catch, and then Pringle climbs the ladder over DJ Reed. DJ Reed was in perfect position on a play.
And that was his only catch of the day. So, I mean, it was a great catch. But, yeah, you made a great point, right? Like, there's no way for you to know that this is going to happen. But it's great that the defense, again, is bend but don't break. I think, as an offense, they got to continue to do what they're doing, what they did in this game, so that the defense has a little bit more confidence in the offense. I think in past games, the defense hasn't really had the confidence that the offense is going to hold their back. So they've had to really kind of be don't break and don't bend, right? And so this game, they were able to be bend but don't break. They were able to give up a couple plays here and there, but the offense was able to come back, score, and really kind of shove it down the Bears' throats.
All right, we're going to get to report cards, but quickly, I'm going to say the turning point was Garrett Wilson's second touchdown of the day because that gave the Jets a 14-10 lead. They never looked back. Here it is. We're going to punch it up right now. That was Mike White. As you showed on the telestrator. There he is. A little play action to Bam Knight, the rookie out of NC State. How about Bam Knight today, Anthony?
Really impressive. I'll tell you, he's a very violent runner, and I really got to attribute his ball security, because when you run that hard, I'm telling you now, it's very difficult to hold on to the football because of the contact that you're giving on guys, and also you're receiving in the game. So that's something he has to continue to be, very cognizant of. He looks like he is when he runs the football. Really good showing. I really liked him in the preseason. Honestly, I just don't remember him being that guy in the ACC, and he was. I mean, he was one. I think he was all conference in the ACC.
Outstanding kick returner.
Yeah. So I mean, he's long. And again, he doesn't waste any yardage, which is good. Right. So in those short yardage moments, if he needs to get on the outside, inside, he's very good at reading and understanding the way plays are blocked. It's a very good attribute to have. Breece Hall is phenomenal at that. Of course, Michael Carter the same way, but that is a trait that backs sometimes they don't understand how everything's going to shake down depending on the look they see in front of them. But, when you can come off the butt of a guard or a tackle or a tight end or whatever it is and be tight to those things, you can maximize your yardage as a player, as a running back, and he did that today.
Let's give Joe Douglas and his personnel staff a tremendous amount of credit because, again, you're operating without Breece Hall. Michael Carter goes down with an ankle injury today. And both these guys, Ty Johnson gets in the end zone. Zonovan Bam Knight, a rookie undrafted free agent, is very effective in his first professional outing. Let's get to our report card, starting with you, Q.
Oh, I get to start today.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Switching it up.
Okay, so let's go. So on offense, I gave them A+, right? There's nothing else that I would give them here. They had a great showing today. Mike White started off strong, finished strong. He led that offense. He commanded the offense, and that's what we've been looking for. We've been wanting to see that, and Mike White did exactly just that. He spread the ball to 10+ different receivers. Everybody got a ball. Even C.J. Uzomah, the guy, we haven't really seen him. He had 3 catches today. That was the most he's had all season. I think the other time was at Buffalo. So he was really spreading the ball, giving guys opportunities to make some plays, getting everybody got a chance. He was like Oprah, here you go. Everybody got something today, right?
Then you get one.
Exactly, right? Then the defense, I went with an A- for the defense, and that was really just because, I wanted them to do a little bit better, but they had a lot of great plays. You had the pick by C.J. Mosley. So there was a lot of great plays there. I just want them to play better. It's not because they actually played bad. In the beginning, they gave up a few different plays, but even those plays, they were tight. Sauce was tight on that one. DJ Reed was tight on the other one. So it's not like they were just giving up wide open plays, big plays. So the A- goes there. And then special teams, the B+. They had a 50+ yarder kick. So I'm not too angry about what they did, but that one missed field goal where, they're fumbling the ball and trying to get it up, that was just an ugly showing. So for that, I had to drop them down to a B+.
A+ is getting thrown out here. Huh?
Yeah, it might not happen
How
all
about
year.
you, AB? Because I'm hearing word that you actually might have been a little soft with your grades this afternoon.
He was feeling himself today.
Look, A+ for me on offense.
Rocco played yesterday, so he's happy.
Has nothing to do with it. Listen, they do deserve an A+.
Something in the water.
I think, number one, we've talked about Mike White and what he did. It's not easy, man. I got to give him a lot of credit, a lot of respect for his ability to be prepared. Quarterback is the hardest position to play, and especially when you're not playing and you're not getting the reps in practice. There was a couple weeks ago he was wearing a hoodie on the sidelines, right? So think about that when he's going to go through some lulls throughout a couple weeks or whenever that may be, that he's still growing. He's only played a couple games in his professional career, and every game he's played, he's always looked prepared, and good for him because 10 guys caught the ball today. It was really fun to watch. It was enjoyable, and it does ease the pain for the defense. On the defensive side, I went A-. Only reason why I put a minus is because they, 120+ yards rushing they gave up today. And I think when you went into this game, you knew that was the game plan was going to be. And for me, I just feel like the showing could have been better on that front. Third down was excellent. It was hard to get to the quarterback today, although they did get there on that sack there because of the fact the ball was coming out of the quarterback's hands. A couple little, had the pass interference on Sauce. Sauce, honestly, when you watch him, he's just so on a guy. He got a little handsy today, and you're seeing him He's got to stay within his technique. He's on him. He's such in a good place when he's in position that he just has to trust his technique and do what he does. Get his head around, knock that ball down because he's there. And then special teams, a B+. I mean, and for the exact, you miss a kick, the rain, the weather, whatever it was, a sloppy snap, those things you don't want to have. It was a crucial time in the game. It was close, and you never want to leave points on the board. So you never know. You're playing a team that has an offense. They take that ball right down and score. So those are the things that can happen there. But man, A+. I'm going to throw it out there. A+ for the offense. That's as clean as you can be.
That's more than the St. Louis Battlehawks.
That's more than managing a football game. I mean, that's getting it done. 80% passing is sick.
All right, fire up my grades up there right now. Let's start with defense.
See, we put our grades in, and he saw us. I'm going to do this.
I'll go defense B. You limited the Bears to 10 points, kind of settled down after a shaky first quarter. Trevor Siemian threw for more than 100 yards in that first quarter, had some big plays, some explosives. Listen, the Jets finally got on the board with the takeaway in the fourth quarter, C.J. Mosley preventing more points. I thought they were sound. They were good. For this group that I consider perhaps the top defense in the National Football League, I thought it was good. It was good. Special teams, good. Unfortunately, you had trouble with the snap there. Braden Mann wasn't able to hold that snap, and that could have been a big catastrophe. That was a fumble-rooski, but it was ruled after replay review incomplete pass. And then Zerline nails a 57-yarder. Unfortunately, he misses from 53 yards. Again, the Jets special teams predominantly take away last week against the Patriots in one play. This is one of the finer special teams units in the National Football League, so I give them a B. Offensively, A+. Listen, you scored 31 points. You score on the opening possession. You are able to control the line of scrimmage in the second half. You have contributions across the board. Anthony and Quincy both mentioned it. 10 different pass catchers in all. Mike White was perfect at the quarterback position, and he got more people involved. I can't wait to see what this means for Elijah Moore moving ahead, but really sound offensive effort for the Jets. Speaking of the Jets and what's ahead, here's Ethan Greenberg with the captain of the Jets defense, C.J. Mosley.
Here with Jets linebacker C.J. Mosley. C.J. just for the defense, letting up a couple explosive plays in the beginning and then shutting it down. What was the changing point?
Pretty much just woke up after, I think, the second or third series. Started off a little slow. Maybe it was the weather, all the rain, but nonetheless, we picked it up. We got back to our form and, made some big plays. Shout out to them. They have the #1 rushing offense, yards per carry, yards per attempt, all the stuff, #1 in the run game, man. It showed. Montgomery's a really good running back. Can break a lot of tackles, and, he did that today. But, for the most part, as a whole and as a team, we did a really good job executing our game plan.
Well, you mentioned David Montgomery. The Bears did go over 100 rushing yards today. Just from that perspective, what was giving you challenges?
Mainly just, him not wanting to go down. We was there for a lot of plays. They schemed up a few plays for our defense, but, they, like I said, they're #1 in the league in running the ball. And they did run the ball today to a good level, but when it came down to it, I know we gave it that one red zone touchdown, but we really pretty much held our own, played well on third down, tackled well for the most part, and just have fun out there today. Now we got to do it again next week.
From a defensive perspective, when you don't know if Justin Fields is playing, then it seemed like Trevor Siemian's going to play. Then pregame it sounded like Nathan Peterman was going to play. Then it was actually Siemian who started. What's the preparation there like all the way up from the beginning of the week to game time?
Well, we'll definitely prepare for Fields the whole game. We knew there was a chance he might not play, but we practiced for Fields. That's a starter quarterback. I'm pretty sure he wanted to be out there if he had his way. But, we was prepared for whoever stepped out on the field. At the end of the day, we was going to have to execute that game plan no matter who played. Fields definitely a dynamic runner, with their run game included. So, we just have to go out there and play ball. Yeah.
And then lastly, CJ, you get your first interception of the year. Your first interception since 2018? No, 2019 when you first signed, right? Buffalo?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's
all right.
still a long time.
Long time. So, one, just your emotions. You're pretty excited about it. What did you see on the play, and how does it feel to finally get your first pick? Because you were close earlier this year.
I got to call myself out. I'm a bad teammate. When my teammates get an interception, sometimes I go to the 50-yard line and go back to the huddle. For some reason, I was on their side of the end zone, the side of the run, all the way to the other end. So, and there was no cameras over there, so I felt like I ran for no reason. But man, it was a great feeling. Glad I got the interception, man. But that's what we try to do. Make plays in the run game, get them in second, third, and long, and play great in the pass game. I feel for the most part we did that as a defense.
Awesome, CJ. Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You are watching Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. Eric Allen, Anthony Becht, and Quincy Enunwa here inside the studio. As we get to our game balls, you could give one to Mosley every week. 10 tackles again today, as Ethan and him reminisced. First interception on the board here in 2022 for the Jets captain.
Yeah, hell of an effort. I mean, again, we take it for granted. What he does week in and week out is very difficult to do. I got a lot of respect for his game. There should be more accolades for him. He's a Pro Bowl player, all-pro linebacker. And regardless of how the team has been playing, good, bad, or indifferent, he always shows up. And you need that. And that's hard. As a leader of the team, a lot's put on his shoulders to guide and captain and be all those different things. And every game he talks to the media, he always says the right things. Yep. And he's in line with what you want to be a Jet football player. I mean, he epitomizes that. And quite frankly, he's been a dog for the last since he's been here.
Right. He is an instinctive force. He is the man in the middle. I think sometimes linebackers externally don't get enough credit, where people are always thinking, well, you can replace a guy like that.
Right.
CJ Mosley is irreplaceable in the middle. So let's talk about our game balls and start with you, Anthony.
Yeah, so, offensively, Garrett had a fantastic game. Just really impressed by his growth and maturity as a player. Just doesn't faze him to be out there versus real NFL corners and safeties to make plays. He's an outstanding route runner, catches every ball with his hands, wet outside today, just making sure the ball is caught first, and then just making people miss. I mean, it's the perfect compilation of exactly what you want. It reminds me of an old Quincy Enunwa out there, just taking, making plays. I mean, I remember when he was young, and I was saying that this dude's a dog, and this is what Garrett is. I mean, he is a guy that, can take over football games. He's hard to cover. He's a problem. You have to game plan around him because he can get open. Not a lot of contested catches from him. He finds space. Yeah. The quarterback sees it, get him ball. He can make some damage after catch.
Well, Quincy Enunwa, we're glad you're not a problem anymore up here on set with us. Somebody's got to get these receivers the ball. Where are you going?
Well, you already know I'm going with Mike White. And I said so much about him already this show. There's not really much else to be said except for the fact that this guy just does what he needs to do. I think it's hard to really kind of judge him last year. When I look back at it, he had that injury. It kind of hampered his play. He wasn't able to really do what he needed to do consistently. So my hope is that he can continue to do this, right? Because this is what this team needs. A guy that's going to spread the ball around. He's a very calm presence. When you listen to his interviews, the guy just has a way of not making you feel confident, making you feel comfortable, right? And so I can only imagine that when he's in that huddle, he's carrying himself in a way that makes everybody else feel like, okay, we got this. I had a guy in 2015, Fitzpatrick was a guy that, he was just a guy that you wanted to be around, a guy that was fun to be around. You can tell sometimes on the Jets social media, this guy is joking around. He's one of the guys, honestly, who's usually in the cam, the win cam or any of the other cams, and this guy's not even playing most of the time. So that's a guy that's a player's guy. It's a guy that you want to be around, and when he's the starting quarterback, it just makes football fun. I mean, right here on this touchdown with Elijah Moore, when he got up, he was so excited. You can tell the energy just kind of lifted. And I said it before, I don't want it to be a whole controversy like guys don't like Zach, because I don't want to get involved in that. I just think that guys really like what this guy brings to the table, and I hope that he can kind of carry this team with him.
I caught Beck looking at some updated
Adam
stats
Schefter there, making sure none of the details were coming in.
Let me tell you something. Zonovan Bam Knight activated on Sunday for the first time in his NFL career. Not only did he have 14 rushes for 69 yards, but 3 receptions for 34 yards. That's 17 touches. Interesting that the Jets made James Robinson a game day inactive. A big weekend for Bam Knight and the NC State Wolfpack. Of course, the Wolfpack beat the North Carolina Tar Heels in a rivalry game over the weekend. So Bam Knight has plenty of reason to feel quite good on this Sunday night, as does everybody in the social media world who covers the New York Jets. So let's take a look at some socially speaking.
Got that dog in him.
Mike White, yeah, no doubt. He does have the dog in him.
Tony Montana. Oh, okay.
Do you like that sweater, Q?
Yeah, that's a good one.
What do you think, Anthony?
Tony Montana? Does he know who Tony Montana is? Guess he
Might be
does.
before his time, right?
Oh, he was cooking today.
Was.
Post Thanksgiving, Mike White.
The coin. We don't get
so
to
we
see it.
so we got to get to this.
Yeah.
Somebody had selected all the games
Here we go.
up to this point. There it is. Up to this point.
That's
10
amazing.
consecutive wins.
Amazing.
The coin flip. But today, the Jets say no, no, no.
Not today.
So what do we make of what the coin has to say the rest of the way here, fellas?
I'd rather not lean on a coin flip to win or lose a football game. Let's go out there and earn it like they did today. But listen, you're getting a little closer every week. You got to take care of a big-time stretch coming up here on the road, man. This is defining 2 games for this football team. We've talked about the games that they had to play that were big earlier in the year. They beat the Bills. Well, now they got to go on the road now and beat 2 heavyweight contenders that know how to play football in December. Yeah. That's just the bottom line. If you want to be in their shoes and where they're at, you got to play ball in December. And this team, quite frankly, they haven't played meaningful games in December.
Nope.
So the leadership in the room, the Mosley, the guys that have done this and had that experience, Jordan Whitehead played in the Super Bowl. Yep. These guys need to rise up and talk to this team. These guys are playoff, guys that played in the playoffs. They need to speak up and really hone in. December's a different brand of football. These teams are already, they're going to be there. They just try to figure out how far they can go. This is the same thing for the Jets. If they want to be in there, they got to understand how to play in December.
Speaking of leadership, let's hear from Jets head coach Robert Saleh. What did he have to say to the troops in the locker room after the game? Here you go.
Great freaking job, all 3 phases, especially in that third quarter. Offense cranking up in the run game, defense fixing everything that we needed to get fixed, special teams making plays, guys. It was awesome, all right? Now we get our minds right, get ready to go play Minnesota.
Robert Saleh in a somewhat subdued locker room. The Jets are getting used to winning here, fellas, 7-4. And as Anthony just mentioned before, we heard from the Jets head coach, interesting stretch the next 2 games. You're going to Minnesota, a team that has surprised most everybody in the National Football League so far this season. Very powerful offense against this Jets defense. That's going to be a fascinating matchup.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm always going to go with the receiver, so I'm really excited for this matchup, right? Like, it's been a great season because you have Sauce and DJ Reed going up against some of the best corners in the league, receivers in the league, and this is no different from that, right? You've got probably, arguably, the best receiver in the league right now, Justin Jefferson. So I'm really excited to see what happens there. Obviously their offense is what carries the Vikings, so the defense is going to be a challenge the defense will have a challenge, excuse me. But on the offensive side, I think the offense can really kind of do some damage against this Vikings defense.
Yeah, for anybody who watched Thursday's game between the Vikings and the Patriots, you can move the ball on the Vikings defense, but as Q just talked about, Justin Jefferson, perhaps the best receiver in the National Football League. It might be inarguable at this point. Adam Thielen, not a bad option. Yeah. On the other side, they traded for T.J. Hawkinson, and then you have a dynamic running back in Dalvin Cook. So they got weapons all over the place. The Jets are going to have to get after. They're going to have to get after Kirk Cousins and make his life miserable in that pocket.
And you can, because obviously he's not the mobile guy. They will do some of that play action stuff because of the run game that they do have. The other thing you're dealing with is the 12th man over there. It's very loud. It's not an easy place to hear. have to be really focused and dialed in. I'm sure that'll be a big part of practice this week, whether it's playing with the noise or however they amp it up, turn it all the way up, and just anticipate you will not hear in this game. But yeah, I'm excited to see, Mike White on the road. I mean, it's kind of redemption. Week 2, I think, was that when he got injured? The second game last year.
In Indianapolis.
Kind of came out firing a little bit.
Yep.
And, it was kind of like, there was his chance. So now, here we go. A huge, big game in the first game, just like last year, followed up with something equal or just as good. So it's going to be exciting to watch.
Oh, man, this is going to be a fun stretch for all of Jets Nation right now. We were watching the end of the Baltimore Ravens game before where Trevor Lawrence converts on a 2-point conversion, dropping the Ravens to 7-4. I know Jets fans are probably watching to score the outcome of the Chargers game with the Arizona Cardinals. One thing is certain, though. The Jets have to take care of their own business, and the AFC East is not letting up. Buffalo Bills, 8-3. Miami improved to 8-3 today. So this, you could make the argument, is the best division in the National Football League, but the Jets have set themselves up to be playing meaningful games in December. That is definite. Will they be playing meaningful games in January? It certainly looks that way. The Jets moved to 7-4 with a romp, with a thumping of the Chicago Bears today, 31-10. That's it for us. We hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving weekend. For AB, Quincy, Enunwa, and a cast of thousands here at One Jets Drive, we're signing off.